Okay, this is the Prusa I3 MK2. Let me turn it on. Reach over here. There's a power switch. That turns on. Now it's ready. Okay, so you make sure it's clean. So what I do is I've got a bottle of ibuprofen alcohol. Spray a little on. Keep that nice and clean so they get good bed adhesion. First problem I ever had was bed adhesion. Okay, so now the alcohol is drying. If I want to dry it faster, I can blow on it. And that makes the alcohol dry up faster. So let me put the alcohol away. Alright, so now I want to print something. So I'm going to, first off, preheat to PLA, which is kind of plastic that I'm using up here. That's a spool of PLA. It's now heating up the bed and also the part that melts the plastic, the extruder. So what I do now is I want to raise it. So I go to settings, move axis, and move Z up. I get it to about 60. And then as this heats up under here, plastic will start to come out of it while it's waiting to print. And so I've got this little piece of kind of getting stiff paper towel that I clean it off from. But now let's set it up for what we want to print. So I'm going to print from my SD card, which is right there. And I need some clips for my terrain to make the terrain go together. And these are 9 clips. So now I'm going to click. Now it's still heating up until it gets to the 215 degrees, which is the top number for the nozzle for the extruder, and 60 degrees for the bed. Then it won't go. Now, for bed adhesion, I take some basically hairspray. And I spray hairspray on the bed where I'm going to print. Okay, that should be good enough. Doesn't have to be too much. Put that back so it's not near it. And okay, now as you see, it has started to, we're starting to get plastic coming out. So then I just pick this up, pull that off, and then rub underneath. Keeps the nozzle. Seeing the little marks I'm getting from that. And now it's heating up. This is one I built myself. If you're not real engineering inclined, I recommend you buy the assembled kit, although it's almost $200 more. I got a few scratches in the bed from when I was working on and building it, and I was trying to get it calibrated right, and I ended up scratching the bed, although it's pretty far out and it's never impeded any prints. That's the main print area right there, but you can see a couple of deformations where when I was building it, it went down and scratched the plate during the part where it gets it. Okay, so any moment now, it's still heating up down there, but any moment now it should be good and it'll start moving. So now what it's going to do, here, let me get one last wipe. Okay, and now it's going to calibrate. And it calibrates in 9 positions. It's got a little PENDA sensor, which detects something that's a piece of metal that's inside the build plate. And it deals with the fact that I couldn't have made it perfectly level, although if you buy it assembled, it's perfectly level. Okay, so it's now calibrated it, and it's going to lay down a little plastic right in the corner, just so it gets started printing. And there it is. There's a little green plastic there, and I generally pick that off. Now it lays down a line around where it's going to print, and this one's going to print 9 clips. That's its printing. Let's take a look at how it's doing. It is 2 minutes in, it's 1% done. And you can see the temperature's doing well. And it's at the z-axis of 0.2. So it's printed the first layer for the first of 9 clips. And looks like the second one as well. It's now doing the third. So there's a little bit of crud there. Give that a reflection. Cleanup job afterwards. But at this point, I usually watch it to see if it lays down the first layer clean. As long as it does that, I can walk away. It could print all day, and it wouldn't bother me. That light going off is it, the PENDA probe detecting that it's over one of the calibration points, which is right in the middle, so it's going to go off when it's printing. And there's the first layer for these clips that I'm making for my terrain. Now let's go take a look at the terrain. This will take probably maybe 20-30 minutes to print. They're not very big. But here is the things that most of the things I've printed so far. A kraken, 2 very large for other uses like tentacles, a blacksmith shop, and you can look into it. It's going to get painted up. Here is this is going to be a adventuring equipment shop, and you can actually open it up and go in. Although it's a little hard right now, let me set this down for just a moment. And now you can see inside, and look, there's even a figure I printed. That was printed on the same printer that it came off of. The detail's okay. This particular model didn't have super high detail, but it's capable of doing more if the model has more detail. So anyway, here's that shop. This is where the shopkeeper, I'm going to put a bed in there, and a nightstand, and maybe a torch. And then here will be where all the equipment goes. Here is one equipment rack that I printed, and it has different shelves you can put in it. My son asked me to print this little ghost character, which I did. There's a pot. And I'm also creating a sewer tile set for underneath the city. And there is the sluice where all the sewage goes. And here's a deep sluice where there's a lot of water. And again, all this is going to be painted up. I still have the walls to do on it. There's 2 other things I printed. A giant 18-inch Nautilus shell for one of my son's projects, and a big stoplight where you can put a hand up for a colorblind light that he wanted to invent. Anyway, I'm just getting started. This is the first two pieces of a village that I'm building that's going to be for a YouTube project. Well, let's go back and see how the printing's going. I've got a little printing station set up over here. It's hooked to a UPS so that if it loses power at the house, this won't be interrupted. So we are at 7% already, 6 minutes in, and we're at level 035, and that's how far along it's gone, printing those clips. So I'm going to stop it and then show you as it finishes up. Okay, we're about 21%. I'll show generally how this works. There's a spool of filament here, very basic PLA, it's cheap, costs about 20 something bucks per kilogram. It goes down into an extruder here, which is run by this motor, and there's a little tension right there. And it goes in there, and this motor turns and pushes it into this setup down here, which is where it's heated. And while it's working, these various stepper drivers move it up and down. Two move it up and down. One moves it back and forth. And one here in the back, that one moves the whole plate backwards and forwards. And through a combination of these 4 stepper motors, it moves the plate around, and this 5th for the extruder, and you have printing. The bed is still being heated. It's keeping it at 214 degrees. We're at 0.8 millimeters height. It's taken 14 minutes so far. We're at 24%. I'll come back. Okay, so here we are. We're about 51, 52 minutes in. Let's see how we're doing. 52 minutes, printing at 100%. We're at 3.05 millimeters, and we're 98% done. It's finishing the last of it now. And again, it pulls it from up here, moves it down into the extruder, where it heats up and gets laid in. We're at 99% now. And again, these are clips for the terrain. I'll show in a minute how we get everything out, but it's finishing it up now. 99%, 52 minutes. So 52 minutes to print and about, I don't know, 8-9 cents of material, plus whatever electricity is for that. Okay, it finished. Alright, so here's what we do. We take this tool, which is basically a butter pat I use, because it's not sharp, and then I can pry that up. So there's one. And there's also a little skirt that prints around it, like a skirt, that just gets it so that doesn't have any problems. Get that out of the way. And then we can pop each one of these off. Oops, I'll have to pick that one up in a minute. Ordinarily I put my hand in the way. Here, you know what? There. Okay, so there's all our clips. I'll take and set this aside. Pick up all our clips. Gotta be careful because it's still hot. Okay. Alright, I think I put one down in here somewhere. But I'll get that in a minute. Alright, so we need to clean it again. So we spray our alcohol on there. Pick up this, and I just rub it in. Make sure there's nothing I can feel on the plate. I don't push too hard. And then set that aside. Let's still cooling off. It'll get down to about room temperature, or 25 degrees Celsius, 23, 25, and it's cooling off, and I just leave it sit here. Whoops. Okay, we still have a little bit of junk on there, so I'll just spray and then wipe. Alright, so let me show you what these are going to be for. These are the clips that make these terrain pieces connect. And you just push them in, and then you clip the next one to it, and you just push them together like that. So that's what this is all about. But it also shows you how the printer works. So there you go. Now I'm gonna go up. Got a little bit more cleaning to do. So make sure that I like to leave it clean, so when I come back, I'm ready to do the next print. There, that's good. So there is a Mark III, a Prusa I3 MK2, excuse me. It's a great printer. Like I said, other than the early problems I had where I wasn't using hairspray and I didn't have the bed perfect as level as I could, I've had really no serious issues with it, especially after I put it on a UPS. So even if the power goes out on the house, it keeps printing. So it's a really great workhorse machine. And for anybody printing terrain, if you can make an investment of about $600, you know, when you figure a piece of terrain, each one of those things runs about $50 to $80, and it actually, once you print it out, it costs maybe $4 or $5. You start to make your money back if you're doing terrain. Anyway, thank you. Hope you enjoy.